Kamala Harris is no laughing matter. Remember this. These are the themes. There's nothing funny about Kamala Harris. This is something that I wish I could maybe try to get folks to maybe stick with, because people are confusing making jokes about Kamala Harris with winning an election. This is no laughing matter. This isn't a joke. She's not going to go away. She's here right now. This is very serious business. Do not underestimate her. Do not think that everything's going to be fine, but do not lose hope. Now, a couple of things, my friends. Let me, first of all, thank you for being here, but let's get down to business. You come here to meet so that I can tell you, here is the good news, here's the rational news, but not here's the mindless news. I'm not the eternal optimist where I just pretend everything is groovy when it's not. I don't do that. It's going to be critical for everyone to understand where we stand right now. And we have to understand that there are different parts of the play. It's like a football game. It's like a baseball game. It ultimately comes down to the field, to the game, not the people in the stands, not the turnout, not the, well, attendance for votes, yes, but not what the fans say, not how many, which team has the bigger payroll. That doesn't mean anything. Right now, you are in a world where you are being inundated with all of this information, and you are telling you, even Fox News, the most untrustworthy, fair weather friends, scared out of their minds after Dominion and Smartmatic, they're not ever going to say anything about the vote being stolen. Never. They are the biggest bunch of phonies you'll ever meet in your life. And if the truth be known, they've never liked Trump, but they play this game and they're the only game in town. And then you've got CNN, who actually sometimes, I swear to God, I learn more kind of covering the headlines from CNN. Why? To hear how the enemy thinks. And if you think it's bad during the week, and that morning show is unlistenable. It is for children. It's Romper Room. It's Miss June. It's Bend and Stretch. Reach for the sky. Oh, it's the worst. And don't think for a moment that they want to see President Trump in, because the people that run Fox News are the Murdoch boys, Lachlan and what's his face, and those wives. They hate him. They are so DEI. Well, they're not really DEI, not if you look at the cast, but they are so in with these woke bastards. You can't imagine. Don't ever think that this is the Roger Ailes Fox News. Okay? And it's pathetic that they, by default, represent this, quote, conservative things. They're no more conservative. It's the worst. Rehashed, warmed over retreads. Karl Rove, Harold for enough of that. Next, turnout. Turnout is critical. I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to ask you a question, and please recognize how careful I am in asking this question. Keep in mind the sapience of George Lenz, who says, let's be clear about Fox. They are the Judas goat. Well, could very well be. But it's more than that. It's people who just want to maintain their $1 million plus. That's it. They will say anything to maintain. I don't want to spend enough time. That's all I'm going to say about Fox News. That's all. YouTube says, morning Joe's eyes are too close together. Weirds me out. Okay. Thank you for that one. And Judas Goat Barbecue says, you're right. We need Walter Cronkite, Frank Reynolds, Harry Reasoner, not Baghdad Bob. Hit the like button. You're right about that, my friend. But we also need, I just want reality. I just want the truth. turnout is going to be critical. Let me ask you something. Who do you think who has better turnout, Republicans or Democrats? Let me say it even more. Who turns out more, the Democratic, the Kamala crowd or a Trump crowd? Trump learned his lesson last time. Don't say anything about, well, do you think that maybe it's better to have no. I don't care if it's write-in vote. You make sure you vote every possible way there is. Ryan says the Democrats know Trump is undamageable, so their attacks on Vance are their only choice. Do voters struggling to pay their mortgages and pay for gas really care about the childless cat ladies? No, absolutely, Ryan. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They have not. Ryan, dear Ryan, thank you. You've got people working. You've got to figure out what does it matter? First of all, you've got the media. What do? Keep pumping out the stories. Keep pumping out the stories. Here's a new one. Vance's wife said that you lost me already. Vance's wife? Listen to what I'm telling you. You don't win an election because you're not the other guy. You know what Kamala Harris is saying? I'm not Trump. That's it. I'm not Trump. She is a joke. And I'm not saying this just to be mean. First of all, you never can win when nobody respects you. We've never had anybody who's ever been running for office that everybody knows is an idiot. That's number one. Number two, the laughing, that is now so annoying. It's her liability. It's her millstone. It's her, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just this horrible, rancid, terrible, awful. It's done. She can't do it anymore. It's creepy. That's that. Number three, I guess. She is not appearing to the black crowd. I'm going to have to be brutal with you. Black America, she has nothing to do with you. She's OJ. OJ Simpson was befriended, beloved by the black community during his trial. Forget when he was a football player, but later on in his later life, he was as white as I don't know what. There's Pat Boone. He went to the Brentwood Country Club. Don Ohlmeyer was his friends. He had white women girlfriends. He walked away. Oh, he had Al Cowlings here and there. He was the most unwhite. In fact, they went through when the jurors came to his, they loved it. They came to his house. They changed all the artwork to African this and that. His voice, his affect, he had nothing to do with the black community until the trial. Then all of a sudden he was Brother OJ. Kamala Harris has nothing to do with her black constituency. She can't do the black thing right because she is from a world with this wishy-washy Doug, a nice man, Jewish guy. He is the boringest person. Her whole life is hanging around people who get her powerful. And believe it or not, she's not in the hood. So this soulful, there is nothing worse. Even hearing her and Michelle, hey girl, hey, it's like, oh, stop it. It's like when AOC does a Latina, to me, I'm a Latina. Stop it. You're from Westchester County. Your name is Sandy, and you're about as Latina as, no. In fact, Alec Baldwin's wife is more Latina. Hilaria Charo is more white. So people tell phonies. Soul 76 Can says, Pops was polling outside the margin of fraud. Insert Kamala Harris and it tightens back up within the margin of fraud. Margin of error is margin of fraud. Well, I like that. But the numbers are still meaningless. It's not time yet. Just wait. Polls are news stories. Polls are news stories. Do you think that Fox News or CNN is going to win numbers by people just putting in the same polls? No. You guys say they're neck and neck. Neck and neck. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying. But let me go back to what I'm saying. Let me go back. There is no Kamala Harris. So she is not this black fixture in the people of color contingent. She might represent that, but she's not Trump. That's her thing. I'm not Trump. I have nothing to say. Even when I'm saying something, I have nothing to say. I have an annoying laugh that everybody has already. Don't think for a moment. That does not in any way destroy her, because there's nothing that you cannot win in this country if you are a joke. And America hates a joke. We are the trolling country in the world. We will destroy you. And social media, oh my God. You've got these two women. One, her name is Esty, whatever. She is great. When somebody sometimes captures, I know it sounds crazy, when somebody captures, remember when people started picking up the fact that Joe Biden, that W was stupid, that George W. Bush was stupid. When people started to say, put food on your family, remember that's not good. They came after Al Gore as being boring, the lockbox, boring. Bill Clinton was just his voice, but never stupid. Never stupid. Stupid is unforgivable. He spoke in malapropisms and spoonerisms and inverted words, but not stupid. This is not good. So you've got this woman who apparently all of a sudden is gratuitous to say, hey, I'm your sister. Stop it. There's nothing that black folks can figure out better than a phony, because they're everything about black folks in this country, and I'm sorry, I sound like I should be on, I don't know, Oprah, has been expropriated and appropriated. Music style, lingo, voice, affectations, patois, rap, hip, name it. Blues. Mick Jagger, 81 years old. Is that funny? Same age as Biden. Mick Jagger moves now more than he did when he was 19. Remember when Mick was first starting out? He'd do this thing. I was born. No, not I was born in a crossfire hurricane. And he would just stand in one place and do like that. I go, that's the move. Now he's running back and forth, singing and not losing his breath at 81. Unless they pipe that in, but I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. And if anybody has the right to do that. Okay, so Kamala, a joke, laughing, hasn't done anything, and stood for the most ridiculous of all things. And she is now asking her constituency. So let me go back. Between Trump voters and Kamala voters, who do you think you're going to have an easier time getting to the poll? Trump. Let me put it to you this way. Please don't take this the wrong way. Please, I only speak the truth. What does it say about a constituency when alleging that having to show an ID is racist? When somebody stood up and said, excuse me, these people don't have IDs. You can't ask a black voter to show up with an ID. They're not into. If I were a black person, I'd say, wait a minute, what? Voting is like in the old days going to Blockbuster Video. Remember that? There were two jokes about the best way to get bin Laden was to have, number one, the AARP. Remember when you turned 50 and AARP found you? It was like, how did you do this? How'd you find me? They can find anybody. And also the guy who wanted, if you were a day late with your Blockbuster Video. Remember that one? Remember that? Remember the sound of the tape hitting that after hours? Anyway, black folks had no problem. Driver's licenses, checking account. What do they think black people are? What is this? It's an insult. So you're telling me that, and by the way, it's easier to steal. Don't kid yourself. They didn't care at all about, but they wanted to say, I want to get rid of the ID requirement so that when we have all these fake people come in, we have to worry about the IDs. But it was an insult. It was an insult to black folks. It was an insult. Like, they can't carry an ID. What are you talking about? So keep in mind what we're looking at right here. Keep in mind what we are looking at. This is really, really, really serious stuff here, and it's beyond critical. Okay, so that okay. Now, so okay, black folks and Democrats. Now, Democrats are going to say, let me put it this way. Democrats, Upper West Side. I can't believe how I'm using all these demographics about white, black, men, women, but I'm going to have to do it because this is the reality of voting. We have this, there's this image I have. If you've ever been Flaxseed, if you've ever been in a Manhattan, New York City indie art film house, you see this couple, ex-hippies. He's the old guy who has a ponytail. Bald, he has a ponytail, gray. He wears a tie-dyed shirt, Birkenstocks, usually with socks. That's a good one. And he carries a cloth strand bookstore bag and the New York Times in it. And he goes to Ingmar Bergman, movie. He listens to NPR, that kind of guy. That guy will vote for mud, actual mud from a riverbank, molded into the shape of a person. They will vote for that person versus a Republican. Doesn't matter who it is. And they don't believe in anything. They have kind of a sketchy idea about rights and fluffy, but they don't, specifics are not their thing. You've got that group. And you've got this other group of people that people are going to say, it's the black constituency. And they're going to vote for Kamala because she's black. Now, I don't want to get into this business about whether she's Asian, but I'll let you worry about it. Somebody has to, and this is important, make sure that you saturate the entire black community with. In fact, this is what Trump has to say. Trump talks too much about what he's done. Trump has to go more on the attack and say, and by the way, black America, let me tell you what your sister over here has done for you when she was clawing her way to the top. And do not mention Willie Brown all you want, but don't make the sexual connection. You don't have to. You don't have to. Willie Brown took her under her wing, and that was it. They put her in a position of DA and Attorney General, and she and Barack Obama have absolutely similar these incredible trajectories. Remember, Obama came out of nowhere. He was this community organizer, state senator, U.S. senator, president. Say, who the hell is this guy? There are still people that I know and have heard of since the beginning who went to Columbia who say, I don't remember him at all. But that's moot. So here is this woman. Say all you want. Do not explain. Do not make the sexual jokes about her. You don't have to. I can't say it enough. You don't have to. Okay. Now let's look for a couple of things. I put some good stuff here. This is what's going around today, all right? Dig this. Oh, I got to show you this. Sometimes I see this, I don't even know. It's a word about the Olympics. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely disgusted. Mrs. L was remembering when she was a young gal. She would watch every year. What was it, honey? The gymnastics and swimming and ice skating, things like that. It was important. There were moments of the Olympics of Muhammad Ali. Remember this with the tremor? It was beautiful. It's like, oh my God, we love him. And he's going, oh, it just remember following the torch, and just it meant something. And then these woke crazy, and there is this ginormous. She has a name whose name people are disgusted, and and the actual participants. The women they can't live in these dorms. There's not enough bathrooms. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. But electricity went out. And by the way, whales are attacking us. The cetaceans are attacking us. I had in law school, I had this T-shirt that has a "Nuke the whales," which I thought was fun. I had this one T-shirt that says, "In outer space, no one can hear you fart." I thought that was funny. Another T-shirt I had says that it said Jackson Brown is a poussoir, a reference, which I thought was funny. And the worst, well, I shouldn't tell you the worst one. No, I won't tell you that. I want it bad. But it was because of the shock value. Okay, this was opening ceremony. Trans men, sacrilege, blasphemy. This was 2008 in Beijing. Okay, 2008 in Beijing. Here we go. I remember one time watching a Chinese. It was a group of people. It was a Chinese. What was it? It was this Chinese marching band or something. And there were women. And one woman had like a French horn. And I swear to God, she had a look on her face like she was going to kill me. This was a marching band. They look like they could take. And what do we have? Woke. 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, we've got the Bob Fosse SEAL Team 6. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. Now, President Trump has got to remind people constantly of who Kamala Harris is. Push her off. Make her always have to answer who she is. Like this.
The passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time.
Keep doing this.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
I don't know what that even means. And I'm no dummy. I've listened to some really weird stuff where it's like, okay, I get it. This is gibberish. He's got to go out constantly and remind people of the absolute unmitigated gibberish. This logolalia. You know, there's echolalia. You remember when a little baby, when the baby repeats what you say, it just says that, doesn't know what the hell he said, but just repeats. It's echolalia. Lalation is on the tune. La 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 la. Certain words are easier for a kid. Easier to words to put together. That's why dad is always the first word. You know. But you watch this and the idea, and you can also see it sometimes in the disintegration of speech as well. And in her words, one of the things which is the most interesting is that you have, and I'm not suggesting she's schizophrenic, but there is certainly indications of, well, put it this way. Let me ask you. This is one of my favorites. This is hebephrenia. And this is it's a disorganized subtype of schizophrenia typified by shallow and inappropriate emotional responses, foolish or bizarre behavior, false beliefs or delusions, and fake perceptions and hallucinations. But it's also this weird, inappropriate emotional responses, foolish and bizarre, laughing when you're not supposed to laugh. Check this one out. This is hebephrenia. This is pseudobulbar affect. This is another one of my favorites. PBA, pseudobulbar affect, also known as emotional incontinence, like like diarrhea, inability, emotional incontinence, is a neurological disorder that causes people to have sudden, uncontrollable, and inappropriate episodes of crying or laughing. These episodes can be triggered by things that are only slightly sad or funny and can be unrelated to the person's current mood or emotions. For example, someone with PBA might cry uncontrollably at a sad TV commercial or laugh uncontrollably when they're actually feeling angry. Now, pathological laughing, crying. It just so happens that this is the second time that we have a person running for office who is basically exhibiting who is exhibiting mental whatever. It's the weirdest thing I've ever. What did we ever do to win this? Yeah, John Boehner. Also, John Boehner, Mark Lewis. John Boehner was also drunk half of the time. He was a big lush. And you get real weepy. Now, let me see what we have here. I put this together. What is this one? Oh, yes. This is where they're trying to show. I forget where this was. This was a current Harris meeting. It looks like the basement of a church, and they're trying to show you you're not going to see any Harris rallies. Those are Trump rallies. By the way, Trump's got to back off there. I'll give it in a moment. But they're trying to show you, feel the exuberance. Harris. Like a wedding reception. Or
ready to get this party started.
Or it looks like an old folks, kind of like a retirement village, doesn't it? Now, this was put together, I don't know by whom. I think it was a fellow named Mr. Reagan. I'm not sure. This might be one of the best ones ever.
President, because Joe Biden.
Hang on. This was, pardon me. This is so good. It's scary.
I, Kamala Harris, and your Democrat candidate for president, because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility of the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
That is Mr. Reagan. Absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. Superb. And what's sad about this, even more than anything else, what's even more sad is that this is the part which is so critical. This is the part which is so critical. What is so sad about all of this is that this is a guy that told us from the beginning he was this bad. He was this bad. This is a guy who said, made no doubt about, didn't hide anything. Now, you play this. That does more than anything you can imagine. Anything. This does more than anything else. I'm telling you. Because America in particular hates, we love to mock. And when you hit the level of mocking, that's a different story. And what's also interesting is that when you try to put something together, you're not sure whether you even need AI or anything. Because what she has done, and let me just say something to you, she is the most stupid person anybody's ever seen. And I know that's a kind of a hard thing to say, but it's absolutely true. And I'm not saying it just to be mean. We've never had somebody whose intelligence we truly imagine. Let me tell you something about this president. This is the spillover from Minnesota. These are people who couldn't get in.
I don't know. Tom, you better bring this home.
They couldn't get in. And I want to say one more thing about J.D. Vance, who is, I don't think he's going to matter one way or the other, but he's very impressive.
Harris questioned my loyalty to this country. That's the word she used, loyalty. And it's an interesting word, simplify, loyalty, because there is no greater sign of this loyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done at our southern border. And I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country.
Good. Well, I don't know if that's good to go to Iraq, but
I built a business for this country.
Thank you,
and
Peter
my
Thiel.
running mate took a bullet for this country.
There you go.
So my question to Kamala Harris is, what the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States of America?
Wow. Good. Now, that's good, but that's not enough.
And the answer, my friends, is nothing. So let's send a message to the media. Let's send a message to Kamala Harris. Let's send a message to every hardworking patriot from Minnesota across the country. We are ready to have President Donald J. Trump back, and we're going to work our tails off to make sure it happens. God bless you all. Thank you. And thank you for having me, Minnesota, a great state.
Okay, here we go. Now, here's
I saw the other day.
Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Now, I love that, and that's nice. We know all about that. We know all about that. That's very nice. Doesn't matter. Sorry. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? Now, 76 says, the RD ideology don't matter. It's about power, the club, the machine. If you're going to keep that system going, you're their guy or gal. Indeed. George Len says, I'm pretty sure there's no recovering from that, meaning stupid. Okay. Rule number 1. That was okay. That was okay. Stop talking about yourself. Let me say this again. JD, nobody cares. I'm sorry. You're a Marine. Okay. That's excellent. Democrats don't care about that. Nobody cares about it. Yeah, I'm glad. You're in a group of people that's playing Lee Greenwood, for God's sake. Always talk about her. But don't say, who is she to question my, patriotism. Again, we don't care about you. With all due respect. We don't care about Trump. We know the rally. The rallies only be. How many times have you seen a rally and say, is this a new rally? Was this last night? I can't tell them apart. Can you? No, that's Minnesota. Was that South Carolina? They look alike. They're all packed. They say the same thing. He kind of wears the same red tie. I can't tell one from another. I have habituated to the rally. The rallies are good. they don't have any significance anymore. I'm sorry, because we've been through how many of them? It's time to go out. What can you do to make her stop and respond? What are you going to say? You have to go out and say, you're not going to hear from her. You let them in on what you tell them. You know exactly the inside intel. They're not going to let you hear her because she can't speak. You don't have to say idiot. They know what that means. She can't speak. For 4 years, there's a learning curve most people have. And I still don't understand what the hell she's talking about. Nor does America. Nor do they. They've got a pig in a poke. They're stuck with her. So rule number 1, you're not going to hear from her. You're going to hear about some speech about space. You're going to hear about a bunch of child actors. You're going to see the creators. You're not going to see her anywhere at all. She's going to be ditching debates. She's going to be ditching any kind of rally. You're not going to hear from her. And then you stop and you do this trick. Let me say this again. Let me say this again. There are different ways you repeat it. I don't think you heard it the first time. You're not going to hear from her again. They're keeping her hidden. She's an animatronic. She's a mannequin. She's an AI. She is AI. They want you to somehow look upon her as an idea. And by the way, dear friends, I hate to say this to you, and I don't do this a lot, but I need your likes. I need 1,000 likes. I know this sounds, because sometimes you're thinking, oh, okay, okay. But it means more than you could ever understand. Because I want to get the word out. I want them to know about who we are. I want people to come in, and if you like this, it somehow changes the algorithm and it'll be recommended. So somebody will come in and say, wait a minute. My goal here is not to just sit there and make fun of somebody. I'm explaining the process. And the process is what is being done, but also what has to be done. And the thing you have to do is, they love the rally. And Trump voters love rallies, but those are Trump supporters. You have to say what she's going to do. So number 1, tell them she's not here. How many days has it been? She has got right now, as we speak, 100 days until the election. She has not run one time. Even when Joe was running, she wasn't running. They kept her in the back. Tell her, expose her. Do this trick. Let me say that again. During this time when Joe was in Wilmington, shot up with narcoleptics or whatever the hell he had in some kind of basement, some root cellar in Wilmington, watching Matlock in the afternoon, as they swore to you and as she swore to you that he was okay. When they did this, listen to what I'm saying. She was doing nothing. And the reason why is that because they realized she can't speak. She's an embarrassment. They don't know why she's there. Absolutely go. Just, she'll have to say something. You want to draw her out. You know, how do we say this? Remember, in wartime, the rounds that you use, speaking of AR-15s, you don't want to use a round that's going to, destroy the enemy. You want, in certain circumstances, a round that's going to wound the enemy so that the buddies will have to come out and drag this person off, drawing more fire and exposing positions. You want to wound so the others have to come out. You have to wound. It slows everything down. You want to wound. You're not going to kill the figuratively, this politically, but you want to wound. You want them to stop. Answer the question. And the next time you got out there, he has these a sign or something. Where's Joe Biden? They want you to understand there's no one in charge. Call the White House. Is Joe Biden there? Yes. Okay. No, he's not here. Where is he? Tell them what's going to happen. Tell them, ladies and gentlemen, one day, that scene where all of the presidents get on Marine One and they wave goodbye. Remember that? You're not going to see that. When re-election, there's that scene where we go to the White House. Remember when we went, how Melania and I went, and she brought a nice gift from Tiffany's, and Michelle was so rude. It kind of looked like, remember that one? Go back and look at that, my friends. Ladies in particular, as Raul says, Raul asks, will Biden quietly finish his term? Quietly? No. She's going to take over. That's what he's got to say also. He's going to have to, and thank you, by the way, Raul. They're going to slide her in. But remember the time, and go back and watch this, ladies in particular. This will infuriate you. Here's Melania. She had she blew. She looked so nice. Everything's so great. She shows up with Trump, and they were like rude to her. They were like dismissive, like, oh yeah, okay, what is this? Okay, nice. Yeah, Jerry, take care of this. Well, you're not going to see that because Joe will never come back. Joe may not come back. Joe may not come back. Did you hear what I say? Let me say this again. Always do that technique. It really makes people listen. Joe may not come back again. They're done with him. They're through. And tell them the way it is. And they're furious with Joe. Why is that? Because Barack Obama, who thinks he runs the show, never wanted her. He wanted Kelly. And that's their salvation. Have you ever heard more people talk about, well, they're winnowing, they're determining who might be her best running mate because they've got nothing there. They know this. Barack Obama realized this. He was furious. And so Joe double teamed him, double crossed him and said, oh, and by the way, guess what? I'm going to endorse Kamala. And Obama said, what? And then everybody started, and he screwed everything up. Stop. Let me say this again. You're missing the biggest story. I know this. We all know this. CNN's not going to tell you this. It's like inside baseball. Go ahead, son. Oh, this is great. Yes. Tell people this. And better yet, and I'm going to say this until you do it. Mr. President, I love you. You know I love you. I've had my totem. I'm telling you, we went to the White House gift shop right there, whatever it is, across from Treasury in D.C., and I mean to tell you. Did I ever tell you about the time we had a Secret Service agent? There were two of them standing there. And when I get one of these, remember that, honey? Remember that big guy? He goes like this. I get him one of these. I'm thinking, oh my God, what happened? And he was like looking like he was like he had this, they have all that vest stuff. And he was talking to me, but he wasn't, shaking hands with me. He says, I watch you every day. Just want to let you know. And he's like, he didn't want anybody to say, okay, thanks. They watch. They know what's going on. It's not, when I say we, I mean we. I can't do this without you. It's not me. Just me. What? I'm talking to myself? Great. Terrific. That's not it. It's you. Your endorsement. You're being here. You're adding to the numbers. I don't forget you for this. I mean, I really don't forget you. You have no idea. Like John Kennedy says, forgive your enemies, but never forget their names. I never forget a friend. And what I'm saying is very simple. It's nothing complicated, but I'm not here I'm just going to be honest with you. Brutal. And I know what works. And I know about talking to juries and getting into that one point that just like that says it all. And you are part of a con. And let me also tell you something. If I were President Trump, and this is the most important thing in the world, this is the most important thing in the world, I swear to God, I don't know if he can do this. I could do it easy. This would be the moment that would blow people away. And I don't know, this would be done, I think. He's got to do the video camera. He's got to do the video address at either Mar-a-Lago or on a desk or something. He's got to do this. Every time Michelle does something, every time Kamala does something, he puts something out right away at the same time. At the same time. He dilutes everything. He double crosses them. He just times it perfectly. But the president has to look at people and look at them and say, I want to talk to you who never, ever, ever thought about voting for me. I understand politics is a very personal thing. And there have been some times in my life when there were candidates where I'm thinking, I just don't like this person for whatever reason. They never did anything wrong to me. I just didn't care for them. And that's, you know what? It's my right and that's your right. But I'm asking you something. I'm asking you to do something. If you believe in maintaining this country, if you believe in returning law and order, protecting your children, sealing the borders, pretending that we have sovereignty, cleaning up cities, getting rid of, there's a brand new fentanyl that's even bigger and more powerful and more dangerous. We're getting off the charts. This is like nuclear fentanyl. And where is it coming from? Across the border. I'm asking you to vote for me. Hold your nose and vote for me. Don't tell your friends. They'll never talk to you about it. TDS is alive and well. Oh, I know this. But I promise you, you will be able to see and feel a Trump 2 administration. You'll notice it in your checkbook. You'll notice it in your money. You'll notice it in crime. You'll notice a feeling. Because I'm going to say something to you, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans. You know who the enemy is? Let me say this again. Remember that trick. Let me repeat this. So make sure you understand it. You know who the enemy is? Russia? Nope. China? Nope. Terrorism? No. Well, maybe, but we'll get to this. It's within us. It's this cancer. It's this virus. It's this group of people, this feeling, this ideology. It's everywhere. You look at what's happening in Paris, it's a mental hospital attitude. And if I were, my gay friends are furious because they're saying, wait a minute, they're making a mockery. They're making a mockery out of us. It's that. It's this idea that everything goes. It's this lunacy. The enemy is within us. And I want you to look at the Democrats. You know what they are? Zombies. They have no idea. They just want to keep their position, want to keep their millions, want to keep their gig. This is the only country when people go into the Congress and end up millionaires. I don't understand this. Harry Truman left office, with his World War I pension and this car he bought. He was driving too fast and they told him he can't drive. He didn't know how to drive. He never drove. He was like driving like 80 miles an hour and they said, that's it. He went back to Missouri and he shows up and this is ridiculous. Ronald Reagan, they went berserk because he made $3 million on one Japanese suit. How dare he? He gave a speech. Nancy Pelosi, how does Maxine Waters, how do these people end up with millions and millions of dollars? And the only thing they've ever done is public service. The other day, Kamala Harris said that she took the route of public service and therefore forwent any form of what? Money? These are the biggest cons. I've lost billions running. Billions. I've lost billions. I'll show you this. They wanted to destroy me. But I don't want you to feel sorry for me, my fellow Americans. I want you to do me a favor. If you don't like me, I'm sorry. I hope you do. But this isn't about liking. This isn't about I like it. It's like going to the best doctor for your kid. It's about going and finding the best police chief. You may not particularly care for them personally, but they do a good job. And I'm going to do a good job. And if we win, I don't win, vice versa. That's it. I'm asking you to vote for me because I'm sorry to say this, but Kamala Harris is a fraud. I don't know who she is. She's like an imposter. She's this, so I don't know who she is. Borat, Chauncey Gardner. Who is she? They just pulled her out of nowhere. And she thought she can dazzle you with this BS where she's laughing. And you know better than that. That would be one of the most, hold your nose and vote for me. Acknowledge it. I know you don't like me. I understand that. And you know what? It doesn't hurt my feelings. My family hates it. My son doesn't like it. My wife doesn't like it. It's horrible. They've treated my wife like garbage. She wanted so much to be your first lady. This is a woman who is, so, and I'm talking about Mrs. L too. This is a woman who is so stylish by nature. She would have made you proud. And they laughed at her and they mocked her. Even Vogue magazine, a magazine devoted to fashion. My wife is very proud of the way she looks and she takes care of herself and her clothes and her fashion. We're not running away from that. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to pretend. She can, at any time, she could say, I could do a photo shoot immediately. And you would have wanted to see that. But no, because Anna Wintour is one of these hacks that they've brainwashed into saying you cannot do anything in any way to give this man 1 bit, 1 ounce, 1 gram of respect. And you know what? That's okay. I can handle that. I've got thick skin. I took that on. But my family? These people, and listen to me carefully, do it again. Listen to me carefully. They shot me with a round from an AR-15 on a bullet on a roof right there that somebody forgot to look at that day. I'm not gonna get conspiratorial on you. But after I heard this in my ear, I've got Joy Reid telling you, oh, it was glass. Joy, would you like to? You want to look in my ear? You want to come here? You want to come here? I'll take you there. I'll show you where it is. And by the way, I want to introduce you to this brave fireman and his family who he was trying to protect his family. Yeah. I want you to ask his family whether he was hit by a shard of glass too. Do you think that is well? You think that's a joke? A conspiracy? You know, it's funny how these people love these conspiracy theories. Isn't that something? There is a story going on, and I can't mention it because we can't. Believe me, I know this. That's why I do a private channel. I can't do this here. But there's an event that happened on the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago. And there's new video footage. And you know what? You know what they said? Conspiracy theories are going crazy. This is how we handle investigating lies. We mock it. These people will mock you for daring to question significant historic events, but they will praise Joy Reid for calling into question whether I was shot or not. Does this make any sense to you? Am I missing something here? See, if you talk to people like this, oh my God, it's never been done. I would love, you have no idea. Do you know 2 significant moments in American elections? One happened to be, believe it or not, the fireside chat, which they thought demeaned the presidency. You're on radio? Mr. President, you can't go on radio. You can't demean yourself. This was a true patrician, a term which nobody even recognizes anymore. And he did. He goes, the hell I can't. Abraham Lincoln was the first person to campaign. He had pictures. He posed for pictures. They said, you can't do that. What do you mean? No, the presidency, you don't campaign. They come to you. You just put your name out and Lincoln said, that's the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. I swear to God, it's the truth. He changed it. Don Hewitt changed everything with the debate. The Nixon-Kennedy debate changed everything. It was like, oh my God. They even had theme songs. I Like Ike. They were really bad too. Frank Sinatra, Jack, I Like Jack and all that. Oh. And Mr. President, I'm telling you, oh my God. Always attack her. Make her stop and answer. What has she answered today? Next day, my fellow Americans, Donald J. Trump here. The other day when I asked you who's in charge, they still haven't answered. This is day 2 since they haven't answered the question. I'm sorry, dude. Here's the number. Call 202 and ask for this extension, whatever. And I want them to be melted down. Call them. I don't know if we have telegrams anymore, letters. Do you know that letters mean more? Phone calls. When Mrs. L storms through the Capitol, she found out there were these people who would always keep track of phone calls. I swear to you, phone calls. Emails are a waste of time. And the reason why emails are the problem is very simply this. Very, very simply this. There was this weird thing about they get lost. This is true. But if they say phone, they have this woman checking. They called. We got these numbers. Then all of a sudden, I would plant a story. The White House switchboard melted down yesterday. No, it didn't. I say it did. Post it. Call the Daily Mail. Do it. How much height? Daily Mail. How much to put the story in? What do you mean? Like when you had those pictures of Ivanka. Remember that? Ivanka rocking it with her white bear. How much was that? How much for that? Nobody gives a damn about Ivanka. How much for that? All those pictures of Lauren Sanchez. You see her walking around with her butt hanging out the other day? How much for that? They whatever you want to pay them, they'll do it. The Ben Affleck stories, nobody cares about that. Daily Mail, how much for this? How much? Tell me. I want you to do a story that says, whether it's true or not, I don't even care, that the White House switchboard melted down from people calling and saying where they called wanting to speak to the president. Think I'm kidding? Think I'm kidding? Xander, thank you, my brother or sister. I'm not sure. You got that? Day 3. Hey, Kamala, are you there? Are we going to debate? Challenge. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Quit talking about J.D. Vance and the Marines. Nobody cares about that. Every single day. Call up Daily Mail. President Trump. Whoever. Daily Mail's huge. Challenger. Have the president stand with these black men behind him. Starts off like this. Tight shot, pans back, black men standing around. Maybe with a picture of their mugshot. You know who these men are? Take a guess. These are the men who were put in prison sometimes for decades, some life until their sentence was commuted, based upon this draconian, ridiculous marijuana policy brought by your girlfriend, Kamala Harris, who makes a big deal about smoking ganja, blasphemes and impugns the integrity of Jamaicans, and put these men in prison for the rest of her life. She going to answer to this? Absolutely not, because she's hoping, because why don't we embrace the past connected to, well, I don't know what the hell she was saying. Look at these men. Bring up the fact of people who there's information called Brady material. Brady materials from a Supreme Court case, Brady against Maryland. And it means that exculpatory information, data, evidence that will exculpate, that will exonerate you. A prosecutor has to turn it over. And if you don't, not only is it a mistrial, but you're looking at severe sanctions yourself. If a prosecutor finds out that somebody else took credit for it, you let them know. Our dear friend Eric Thaddeus Walters says 80% of the world watched the Olympics opening ceremony from Nairobi to Sochi to Beijing. Children's hopeful eyes were confounded by the final nail in the collective West coffin. Donald John Trump is the USA's only hope. France flushed itself and the collective West down the bidet. Mr. Professor, thank you so much for your kindness. And you are 100% correct. You know, there is something right now. I got to tell you something. And this happened to me a while back. I found myself for the first time saying things that I never thought I'd ever say before. Have you noticed that? Have you been in that position? Have you found yourself saying things that just blow your mind? Where you're saying things where I'm saying things like American tradition. You know, Marine Le Pen, I'm not haunted by this, but I love this. Marine Le Pen was asked one time, Eric, maybe you remember this, you being a man of Europe. They asked, what do you think about burkinis? And that's a cross between a bagel and a crostini. I'm kidding, of course. It's a burqa and a bikini, so that, okay. There was they said, what do you think about women going into the water? And she said, that's not French. I love that. And we always say these things, that's not American. Well, what does American mean? By the way, how about that Tommy Robinson? You see that one? You don't think that's a spirit that's gone all over the world? Everything about these people, they want to convey, they want you to understand, they want you to believe. They want, look at this, thousands joined Tommy Robinson March in London. It was huge. 100,000 plus. And remember what I want to do. I want to find out what is it that people, what is it? What's that thing? What made people all get tattoos? I'm saying it again. I know you're tired of me hearing it. I want to know, how did so many rational people? The other day, Mrs. Elle and I we have a date night. We went out for our date night. We're at this place, little neighborhood joint. Very nice. It was just nice. Kind of a waitress. She looked like she was from like the Midwest. And her arms got the tattoos and things. I thought, why did you do this? And you know what they're saying? Because I want to be cool. I want to be a part of the cool crowd. And if you tell me something's cool, I will go along with it because I want to be cool. And moreover, I want to either be cool and I want to denounce what's not cool. And one of the things we have to do is to realize, and I want you to say this again. I want you to tell every one of your friends, try this out, and then when we get back together, see if it makes sense. And I have this one friend, I bust this guy's chops all day long. And I said, you have never said one word to me why Kamala Harris should be president. And if I were President Trump, every time I'd open up, people would run. They say, he's got a new one out. He's got a new one. They stop with their, he got a new one. Trump dropped a new one. Got a new one. What? You got to see this one. And each one worse than the other. Than the other. And it was said to say, Kamala, what do you want? You've said so far, you've talked in platitudes about energy. What? Do you want to mandate electric cars? They have to be. Are you going to give them to people? Do you know how expensive they are? Do you know what happens when it rains? Do you know what? Just nobody has. Just tell people this. Do you want to mandate electric cars? You're going to say that it's going to be illegal? And then you say, who's going to pay for this? What happens if people can't pay for this? Do you know what it is to replace an electric battery? There are people who are hanging around. Thank God we've got you can't go to the neighborhood garage. I promise you, more people say, wait a minute, what? Is that what electric cars are? Nobody's ever thought through this. Yes. You've got to have these charging. Drive around right now. We've had electric cars for how long? Right? Tesla and things like that, right? George says the cool mindset is part of the Borg groupthink. Indeed. Thank you, sir. Ask them. Drive around your neighborhood. How many charging stations do you see? How many? Where are they going to pop up? You're just going to pull over and say, okay, hang on, we got to drive. Why? I got to kill a couple hours or whatever it is, whether it's true or not. People will say, what? What? I'm going to try something too. You know what's really bad? You're going to love this one. You ready for this? Listen to what I'm telling you. I'm not suggesting that President Trump should lie. A lie is a misrepresentation of fact with the intent to deceive. But I'm big on insinuation. And I'd ask people, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, as your president, I have always been against a mandatory draft, conscription, men and women, young men and women, forced to interrupt their lives by mandatory military service. We have a proud and a most effective, still, volunteer army. I will not ever countenance or agree to a draft. Now, what does that mean? Are you saying that, because you know they're talking about this, right? You know they've always talked about this. There's been this thing that they love about the draft. Why is that? To pay homage to the military-industrial complex. The Victoria Newlands, the NATO folks, they're the ones. But also there's this idea, this crazy idea that says the best way to ensure against wars is to mandate a draft. I never understood that. The idea is that then people will be invested in it. Start the rumor. And haven't you heard about the draft too, honey? You've heard this. I'm not the only one. I'm telling you, they've talked about the draft. Why? I'm going to say this again. So she stops what she's doing and she has to answer it. Not something from the Kamala Harris campaign. And then he gets back on the camera himself. Next time he says, did you notice when I said this to you? Again, they issue a statement. She's hiding. They're good at hiding. They hit out Joe. They're not hiding her out because they don't want her to talk, because they know she doesn't have anything to say. You hit them with the obvious. You let them have it. It's this thing that is so critical. You have to let people know the obvious. You let them know this. You make it very, very clear, and you tell people what she's going to do next. Here's what they're doing. And you know why they're counting so much on the vice president? Because they realize she's not enough. She never was enough. They know this. Ask Barack Obama. He's still furious. Tell them the inside skinny and have them say, they're not telling me, they're not telling you any of the truth. And I would do something even simpler than that. Ladies and gentlemen, did you see that phony baloney phone call she got the other day where she's walking and somebody hands her a phone? Hello, where she's got it on speaker up to her ear. Did you see that one? a lot of the Gen Zers, a lot of the millennial types, whatever, were noticing they were laughing because that was recorded. She's got it up to her ear on speaker. Wicked Felina says polls, Kamala Harris and Trump are in a dead heat. This is the end. Do you believe this? Do you believe this, Wicked Felina? Do you believe this? Who believes they're in a dead heat? Number one. Who believes we have enough polls that are in to have a dead heat? How many believe this? I am right on the precipice of 1,000 likes, dear friend. That's all I want to say. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be one of these nasty people. You're going to believe this. You're going to stop what you're doing. If Brett Baer, with his eyebrows, you see his eyebrows up here, say, Brett, what's the matter? You okay? What's the matter with you? Your eyes. You know who? We saw a movie last night. It was very good. What was that one we saw? Oh, a Reptile. It was an old one. Benicio del Toro. This guy, he almost looks like he's asleep. He has an epicanthus. You know, he has the wonderful, those lids, those heavily lidded eye. If he ever had eye work, his career is over. He can do anything. He can order at a Wendy's drive-thru. It makes it sound ominous. You got Frosty? Yeah. Hey, you got chocolate Frosty? Boom. Anyway, if Brett Baer or Dana Perino, another one, do these people have like laces behind their head? I'm serious. Do they like, does the doctor like put his foot up and like pull the, tighten that thing? Don't even sneeze. If you sneeze, your face will blow up. Anyway, do they think that, do they have the poll? What poll? What poll? What was the sample size? Who were the people? What are you doing? They just say that we're neck and neck. Wall Street Journal poll says, did you see this one? Check out if you, and I don't like just following people that you like, but check out, is it Byron York? Byron York says from the Wall Street Journal poll, Trump has never been at a 51% job approval when he was president or after until now. Okay, great. You know what's sad too is when Eric Adams sounds more intelligent than anyone. And Kamala Harris, I'm going to say this to you, is an idiot. And people know it. So what they're going to do is they're going to keep her hidden away as long as possible. Wicked Felina, thank you, George Lenz. Eric Thaddeus Walters, grazie mille. I am not saying that at all with anything other than complete and total reverence and respect. Xander, thank you. Raul Rodriguez, our good friend. George Lenz, always with us. Soul 76 can. Bless your heart. Thank you. Ryan, we love you, my friend. Judas Goat Barbecue. God bless you. YouTube Sooks. I gave it that kind of little umlaut at the end there. And that's where we are right now. Also, don't forget, October the 26th. October the 26th. At the Cutting Room in New York City. 10 days before the election. Can you believe what that is going to be? I don't know if I can even. Now is the time to make your plans, get your tickets, and I meet every single one of you. And if you've been there, you know this. Not one of those, good night. One time we had Louis Anderson one time. I was invited, and the guy, anyway, I went there. He was like so cold to people. They showed up, they wanted to see him, and he was just like, I mean, he was good, but he's like, I don't understand this. Well, I'm not like that. Because, by the way, this isn't just some stand-up thing. This is real. And this is me. And I don't have a bunch of, and I'm not going to pull some Bill Barr with my writers. Everything I tell you is from the heart. I know what I'm talking about. Also, follow Mrs. L, Mrs. L, Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. There is the link. Click that link right there, right now. Just click it. And you will go right to the sign up page. Lynn's Warriors. Most important messaging there is. And also Lynn's Warriors on X or Twitter, as it were. George says, I will be there. I'll bring Christos with me. Uh-oh. The sugar man. Absolutely. Our dear buddy. Also, dear friends, remember, make sure you subscribe to Lionel Nation. This is important because a lot of times somebody will say, hey, I'm unsubscribed. Also, Lionel Legal. That's the sister channel where we deep dive more into legal matters. And also, your thoughts and comments, dear friends. I love you to death. All right. Have a great and a glorious day. Enjoy this Sunday. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. per usual. And with some Lionel members, always videos that are scheduled, you get them first. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day. Don't ever change me that sincerely. And until then, remember, comment as you see fit.